Okay, hi. So I'm going to make four different videos. Each one corresponds to another one of the sheets that we're responsible for the test on Tuesday. Okay, coming up is sheet number one. We have studied the Parsha of Kriyat Shema, which is Perek Vav and Devarim, Sukkim Dalet through Tet. The first thing I just asked over here was the main idea of each pasuk. So you have to look in the pasuk, and you have the Hebrew, you have the English in front of you, and you'll see that the Psukim of Kriyat Shema talks about the importance that there's only one God. Vat Hashem, love of Hashem. Vayuad Dvarim Va'ela Asher Anochim Ezavacha Yom Alav Avecha, that the importance of Torah is being a part of us, Vishinantam Lupanecha, of passing down the Torah to the next generation. Then we have the mitzvah of tefillin, followed by the mitzvah of mezuzah. This is just the pshat in the psukim, the simple explanations. And again, you have it in Hebrew and in the English. Let's go to the questions. We'll go from here. What is bothering Rashi in the Rashi Shema Yisrael, and how does he answer? So Rashi is bothered by, why is it saying the pasuk Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second here. Okay, so we go ahead and we look at the psukim now also. I have it here from you. And my go-to Tanach is always the Chabad Tanach. Chabad.org has wonderful English Hebrew Tanach. And so you see over here in Pasuk Daled, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Rashi is bothered. Why doesn't the Pasuk just say Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad? It's one God. What does it mean Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? Why is there a difference Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? So if we go ahead and we look at the Rashi, so Rashi tells us here, Hashem Shu Elokeinu Atav V'Lalohei Omot Hu Atzili Yot Hashem Echad. The way Rashi understands the pasuk is right now Hashem Elokeinu. Right now we accept Hashem as God. Hashem Echad. Ultimately, the whole world will accept that there's one singular God, what we call in English monotheism. Okay, we did not do number two, and now we'll go to number three. According to the Balaturim, why is the letter Ayin in Dalet enlarged? Because if you look again, it does not necessarily appear in the Tanach Chabad. We'll take a look at it and see if we have it. But the last word, the last letter of Shema in the Torah is that the Ayin is enlarged. Same thing, Dalet. Why is it enlarged? He explains because that goes ahead and spells the word aid. Aid means a witness. So we are bearing testimony. We say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We are bearing testimony. We are witnesses of the oneness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the oneness of God. Okay, moving on to the next question. Why is there a minhag to add the words Kel Nem Nachon before we say Shema? So we explained that in the Shema there are 245 words. When you daven in a minyan, the Chazan, the minhag is that the Chazan goes ahead and says all Kriyat Shema, and then he adds in the words Hashem Elokeichem Emet. Doesn't add it in, he takes the three last words and he says it for a grand total of 248. 248 happens to be the number of positive commandments in the Torah, which corresponds to the number of limbs in a human being. So we want to get to that magic number of 248. So if you're davening by yourself and you don't have the benefits of the minyan, so therefore the minhag is to go ahead and to add in the words Kel Melech Ne'aman to get to that 248. Where does the practice of adding in the words of Baruch Shem come from? So we explained that if you look in the Torah, you come and you see the pasuk is Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad V'Ahavta. Well, we all know that every day when we say Shema in the morning and at night, all of a sudden we add in words Baruch Shem Kavod Malchut Le'olam V'ed. It's not in the Torah. Where in the world does it come from? So there are two midrashim. One midrash has to do with Yaakov Avinu. When Yaakov Avinu was about to die, he was surrounded by his children. And he was nervous. His children were not a simple bunch. We know all the stories in Parshiot, Vayeshev, and Vayigash, Miketz, and Vayigash, and Yosef and his brothers, and everything else, and all sorts of different stories of Vayishlach as well. And he was scared that maybe his children were not going to continue in the ways of his Judaism. And therefore he goes ahead and he asks them, are you Ne'aman? Are you believing in God? And they said to him, Shema Yisrael, because his name was Yisrael. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Yaakov Avinu goes ahead And he asks in response to that, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. That's one makar, one source where that Baruch Shem comes from. The other source is that the Gemara says when Moshe went up to Shammai to get the Torah, and the pasuk, Hakadosh Baruch Hu told him to write the pasuk Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The malachim, the angels, were saying Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. So it's not written in the Torah at all. Yet we have two mikorot, we have two sources that go ahead and tell us about this particular practice, and that's why we go ahead and we say the Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto in an undertone, because it's not really in the Torah at all. So it's not part of the psukim. But yet, that's where the practice comes from. We also understand why on Yom Kippur, the prevalent minhag is for everybody to say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed out loud, because in Yom Kippur, like the malachim, we're like angels. We don't eat, we don't drink, etc., etc. As we become like angels, we come very, very high level. And that's why on Yom Kippur, the minhag is to say Baruch Shem out loud, the same way that the angel said Baruch Shem when Moshe went up to Shemayim to accept the Torah. Okay, and that takes care of sheet number 1. Okay, thank you.